JYP come back. Will Oz close it out?
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Right now. Well, not right now, but maybe in like 10 minutes. On the right side of the map at the top, it is
JYP.
JYP getting a round of applause from the audience. Hasn't quite earned a special smiley face badge yet. Down at the bottom of the map, we have our FXO Protoss player, winner of the last game. He is
FXO.
Now, on this map, there are ramps, there are high grounds. There are actually 2 ramps at each base, but more importantly, the main ramp. Now, for that reason, we may see both players even skimp on gateways and be a little bit more risky than they were last game.
You know, another thing with this map too, I believe I was looking at this map in detail the other day when I was practicing with some people. In 3 of the 4 spawning positions on this map, you can actually warp in units from the 3rd to the natural over that gap. But I believe I want to say it's the upper right you can't. Yeah, the upper right you can't do it, but all the other ones you can.
Oh yeah, you're so right. I'm looking at these right now.
I know, I was like, is that actually true? But I looked it up, it is actually true.
That's really cool.
In fact, the newer versions of the map, they've actually changed that. But I believe this one is still the
Yeah, this one looks like that's still the case. So that's cool. In a 4-gate situation, that's not going to be extremely helpful, but that's a good fact to know. For example, if you were trying to attack a Zerg player, you could warp Zelts, and then Zelts would already be at the back against the wall, so they could defend the pylon taking place. That's
what you can also
I like that tip.
You can put a pylon. You can do this anywhere. You can put a pylon down in that gap, then run a probe back around to the 3rd on the high ground, and use the vision from the probe to warp in on the high ground in the natural.
Yes.
Nice.
Well,
tricky trick.
To talk about what's going on here, JYP, actually, his cybernetics core is about 10 in-game seconds behind that of Oz, and that can be really important in some cases, but I don't think Oz is going to be 4-gating. That's, of course, the most important scenario when your core is behind when that happens, and he's going to show his second gas to Oz's probe here.
It's like, now you make one.
And in fact, Oz will most likely follow up and make his own in reply.
We'll see. So warp gate will finish a little bit quicker for Oz.
Yeah, he started it much earlier.
And no.
Oz actually is not taking his second gas right now.
Yeah, he's not.
In fact, he sent his first Zealot to harass. Now, JYP is going to come in here and he's going to see the second gas has not been taken.
Second gateway going down for Oz as well.
Yeah, making a third gate as well.
Interesting. And JYP's going to see everything, too. I mean,
yeah, he does see everything. This may change what Oz's plan is. Oz actually takes his 3rd gas here. Yeah. Looks like what Oz is going to do is just put on a little bit of pressure with his 3 gateways and tech up a little bit more slowly.
And there's the second now.
Yeah. And JYP sees it.
Yep. And this Zealot.
Oh, and that pylon position you were talking about, you can see it doesn't quite reach on this position, so unfortunate for Oz, he's not going to be able to warp onto the high ground there.
That's right.
But even so, it's still a good place to put the pylon.
Yeah, actually. It really
is. And he's actually going to put a pylon here. He's actually faking out JYP so bad right now. He just wants JYP to make some sentries. But he's going to have to be careful here because JYP has a better stalker count. He's going to want to cancel that pylon at the last second.
Do you see what JYP is making right now?
Yes, I do, man.
Stargate. That is going to be cool.
And I don't know what Oz is trying to accomplish here. His warp gate research is done, but...
Oh, he's warping in. He got far enough up the ramp. And it's still 2 stalkers to 2 stalkers, though. And there's the sentry
now he's trapped inside the base. This is not going to be good for Oz.
The sentry's like, I regret this decision.
He's going to get the sentry, though, and probes are coming out.
But there's a Zealot there. Oh, and the stalkers were attacking the pylon.
Yeah, this is a really intense scenario. Now, Oz is actually warping in more units here, and JYP is losing probes. He's making a Void Ray right now.
Man, this is not how I expected this game to go.
This is not how I expected it to go either. The pylon is getting low, but remember, there's another pylon as well, so even if JYP sacrifices the stalker to get the pylon, it's not going to matter. Does get the pylon, but there's still another pylon up for Oz. The Void Ray is almost out, but there's so many stalkers out for Oz. How much is that really going to matter?
You know, and Oz has killed a lot of probes as well. Nice force field.
Good force field, and now the Void Ray is out. You never want to attack up a ramp against a Void Ray.
No, not
That's
really.
for sure.
The probe for JYP still alive in the base.
Oz actually not warping in any more units by the looks of things.
Oh, but he still gets in if he gets the Void Ray. That is huge.
But he's got to be careful of the probes. The Void Ray just continuously doing damage. Nice defense here by JYP.
Yeah.
But he's 10 probes down. It's 26 probes for Oz to 15 of JYP. And Oz starts a Twilight Council back at home. He actually could, he has multiple options. He can go Blink, which is pretty good at this position since he's ahead, or he could actually just go DTs because he knows his opponent has gone Stargate tech.
Oh, exactly right. Oh, look at that, though.
JYP sneaks in a pylon, but nice micro by Oz, putting his Zealot in a place where only one Zealot can attack it at once. He's actually just doing this so well.
Oh, nice.
Now warping in the Stalker. Yeah, both players microing extremely well here, and these Zealots probably just want to target down probes to even up that worker count.
Yeah.
And Oz is actually forced home from here.
Well, makes sense. Oz not really microing that Stalker, though. It's taking a lot of damage.
Now microing.
There we go.
And right now, for workers killed, it's 10 and 10.
Ooh.
19 probes for Oz, 19 probes for JYP.
Yeah. Oh, the pylon for JYP is still in the base, but Oz is going to take it out right now.
And
crazy PvP so far. Oh, and there is the Dark Shrine for Oz.
Yeah, he's making the Dark Shrine now, and JYP is actually making his own Twilight Council.
Oh, man.
Has JYP seen the Twilight Council of Oz? He actually did see it, so this is a little bit surprising. He's actually making Blink as well.
Well, you know, as long as Oz can prevent that Void Ray from getting in and scouting it, which it looks like he'll be able to with those Stalkers, he is going to do quite well against JYP. I mean, just because if there's nothing that can see the DTs, that is going to make the game pretty hard to win.
Yeah, and, you know, when you do something like this, when you make two different tech trees that aren't Robo, in most cases you want to make a Forge, and this is something that JYP has not decided to do. He's actually making his own Dark Shrine.
What?
But it's going to be so far behind that he's going to have to use sentries. Remember, he does have 3 sentries. They have a lot of energy stored up. If he can spot the DTs, he doesn't need the Forge.
It's going to all come down to that.
And Oz is actually making a robotics facility.
Oz is actually outplaying JYP right now. I mean,
and
Oz
yeah, I feel
to surprise me.
I feel like that is the case. Now the pylon of Oz from earlier in the game is still up. The Void Ray checked around a lot of different areas but didn't see it. And the first DT is warping in now. Remember though, there's a lot of sentry energy stored up.
Yeah.
And the Void Ray actually did not see the Dark Shrine.
Oh, is he going to see the Shimmer? Is he going to see it?
He sees it.
Does.
He knows what's going on.
Yeah.
He was just barely able to see the Dark Shrine with that Void Ray now, so now he knows what's going on. He's just going to continue to force field, but he doesn't have unlimited force fields. Meanwhile, the Robo of Oz is finishing, and the first pylon going up for JYP, the Warp and DTs is getting close to being done as well. And actually, Oz is making a Warp Prism. This could actually be really bad for Oz, but the pylon for JYP is spotted, and he's actually targeting it down, and the Dark Shrine isn't done, so he can't Warp in DTs right now.
Oh, man. This is one of the craziest PvPs I've seen in a long time.
Now a cannon is being made for JYP at the top of the ramp where the force fields are being laid, so if he runs out of energy, he can still use that cannon, but with the Warp Prism coming in, there's not a cannon in the main.
That's right.
Here come 3 DTs out for JYP, and Oz force fields. He's actually making an Observer right now. He's chrono boosting it out. He's going to have to force field again here. He has enough for 2 more force fields.
Oh, man.
But his Stalkers are trapped. He has Blink. He's not using it. There he goes.
All right.
And the Warp Prism warps into DT. He's actually not attacking with immediately. He's going to give JYP enough time to make cannons.
Oh, this DT might be able to cause a little bit of damage.
And now JYP's DTs, meanwhile...
Oh, this DT gets seen by the cannon.
Moved it just a little bit too close. Nice positioning. And JYP actually making his DTs into an Archon in Oz's base to die. Now all the excitement is over. Both DT harasses have essentially been thwarted. JYP actually might end up canceling these cannons. I'll give you guys some numbers, though. Right now, there's 29 probes to 27 in the favor of Oz. He canceled his cannons.
Oh, the
Warp Prism gets spotted.
Definitely more durable than it used to be, that's for sure.
Yeah, that is for sure.
And the DT is going to be seen pretty quickly.
He's just going to use that DT to spot around the base, pick off buildings like the Twilight Council.
There's no vision.
Now, the smartest thing that anyone could do right now is what JYP is doing, is just taking a hidden base. Now, it's going to be very unlikely that Oz is going to send DTs around the map to find it.
No kidding, yeah.
He might decide to do that, though. What Oz's biggest advantage here at this point is that he has a robotics faster, he has an observer, so he can actually use his DTs out on the map, whereas JYP cannot.
Getting the Twilight Council is going to be so helpful, too.
He doesn't have Blink, whereas Oz has Blink. Oz is getting his own Nexus up right now, getting a Gateway. Surprisingly not getting a Forge. I'd like to see him add some static defense. It's really important to have a cannon or two when your opponent has DTs.
Oz playing things a little bit risky, but he's got the edge right now. It's a pretty close game.
This is a pretty close game, especially supply-wise. Right now, it's 64 supply to 56 for JYP, but Oz just has all sorts of better tech. That Void Ray is still around, though. Don't forget about him. He's actually checking for hidden bases that Oz might be trying to find, and Oz actually, at the same token, is sending a probe around. And what's going to happen, you guys aren't getting a shot of it, but the probe of Oz that's looking for hidden bases is going to get caught by the Void Ray.
Oh, he just barely misses the probe, though.
You guys aren't getting a shot, but this Void Ray is actually barely missed twice. The probe of Oz, which is actually about to find the hidden base of JYP, and that could be game-ending. The probe is going to the base now.
Now JYP sending his Void Ray towards the base of Oz, it looks like, and Oz is going to go for a counterattack with Blink Stalkers.
And the probe
is going to find it.
It's just so unfortunate. The Void Ray was looking for this very thing, and he wasn't able to stop the probe.
And the Stalkers immediately change position, and JYP immediately sends out his army to try to save this base.
But guess what? With Blink out for Oz, he's going to be able to blink up here, may even be able to kill the Nexus and escape before JYP's units get there. In fact, JYP is going to go for a counterattack towards Oz's main. He's trying to use these probes. Actually, he's going to try to retreat with the probes, but Oz is on top of it, getting all of the probes here. Now, this counterattack from JYP is quite strong, and Oz isn't paying attention. He's not force fielding.
Force fields the sentries.
There he goes, just barely gets him off. But actually, even so, Oz just has so many more Stalkers. JYP is in a lot of trouble, and I don't know if he can win this.
Well, there is one Immortal out for JYP as well, and with that plus run range, that's going to work extremely well. The Void Ray will give him vision.
Oh, he's actually going to trap the units of JYP here from two sides with Blink Stalkers.
He's got to be careful, though. That Immortal is going to do so much more damage.
Nice. He's got two Immortals here, but will it be enough? I don't think so. The Immortal's being targeted down.
Close.
And it actually is going to be really close. Looks like JYP might be able to win this fight after all, just barely. Oz is not blinking his Stalkers very well. Now he blinks away.
Sentry versus Sentry. That's one of the funniest fights I've ever seen.
And, you know, even though he won that fight, Oz just still has more units. They just weren't all in the same place. Now Oz is going to send his small group of Stalkers back home where he's got more Stalkers waiting. And I think this is actually just going to be a waiting game for JYP. He's going to have to make a miracle happen to come back in this game.
Yeah, I mean, Oz is still shutting down that hidden expansion, you know, no matter what happens to JYP, because it's so far away, can't send his units to defend.
And look at this, he's actually going to blink into the main.
Oh, Oz blinks into the main of JYP.
And also, if he goes to the left side of the map, he's going to see that JYP is trying to go for Colossi. But of course, he has no economy for that right now.
Now, Oz needs to get out of there.
Yeah, and he's just going to pick off a few more Stalkers here before getting out.
More Stalkers for Oz coming into the main as well.
Going for the cannons. If he can actually target down the cannons and the Robo.
Oz losing a lot of those Stalkers.
Yeah, he actually lost a lot of his Stalkers there. A little bit sloppy by Oz, this attack, but he's just so far ahead. Nothing that JYP does, even if Oz messes up, is going to matter. Right now, let me give you guys some more unit counts. 18 Stalkers to 4. 1 Colossus to 0, but how much is that Colossus really going to matter? That one Zealot. Yeah, Zealot versus a Zealot. And Oz Zealot wins. He's going to actually kill this Nexus slowly but surely with that Zealot.
I guess so, yeah. It's like watching a Zealot break down destructible rocks.
GG! Oz 2-0's JYP, and what I think might be the biggest upset we've seen in Code A.
This kid just keeps surprising me. Nobody expected him to get this far. Man, who is this guy?
JYP did not play normal games. The first game he decided not to 4-gate on the 4-gate map.
Yeah.
Tal'Darim Altar, and then in game 2 decided to go for a Void Ray build.
That was a bit odd, yeah.
Well, obviously it meant to be a Phoenix build, but he couldn't use his gateways as well as he wanted to, and then he just made a Void Ray instead.
Well,
I would have loved to see how JYP's Phoenix build turned out, but we just didn't get to see that because Oz was like, no, I'm sorry. I don't deal with your unusual tactics. I'm just going to kill you right now.
Yep. That's a good way to do it. You know, it's like, well, I don't know what he's doing. I better just go kill him.
Well, he scouted several times that there was no Robo. He saw the Twilight Council on the Stargate, and he was like, okay, well, I'm going to make a Dark Shrine. And then JYP made a Dark Shrine, but Oz was more prepared. Nice defenses by JYP, though. And also in JYP's defense, he also hit a base, which was a really smart move. He even had a Void Ray going to stop things from scouting it. But he just barely missed it. If he had stopped that probe, that basically gave him the extra production he needed to switch into Colossi.
Inches, like millimeters between that Void Ray seeing that probe.
If he had seen that, or if he had not seen that base and the base had stayed up, he might have been able to hold off in his main. He wouldn't have needed to be mobile, and Oz would have been like, all right, you're turtling in your main, but you don't have another base. It doesn't matter. I have 2 bases. And then the Colossi switch would have hit him, I think, pretty hard. It's possible. It was just a crazy game.
Well, I don't know. PvPs seems to have gotten a lot more interesting since patch 1.4.
Yeah.
Seems like.
Seems like it.
I like it.
And Oz even didn't control the end of that game very well, but he just had so much more stuff.
Well, he was like trying to control a group of stalkers here, outside of JYP's main, and a group of stalkers here. And
microing his Zeld against the Zeld that was defending against his Zeld at the hidden base that didn't have any probes at it anymore.
There's a lot of stuff going on in
that Zeld
game.
was getting pretty tired. He was going to work on that Nexus all by himself.
Yeah, well, Zealots, they do that stamina training. They just sit in front of stuff and go like this all day at Zealot school until they can do it forever. We're going to take a 5-minute break. You guys can practice going like this if you want to. Or you can get some snacks or something.
And don't worry, Sage is coming up next.
Yeah, ZVP, don't go anywhere. This is the GSL Code.